I saw a movie, so you didn't have to, and in the case of this film, well, it's going to depend on if you have a family or not, because If is definitely a film targeted towards families, but it's a very small target, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Here we go! Now, before we get started, right now on the platforms that I stream on and I release videos on and I do some shorts on, I'm having some trouble being, well, hidden in a way, which means I need your help more than ever. So please, if you aren't already subscribed, like 60% of you that watch my videos, please look down there, click on that little red subscribe button and turn it to gray. It's free and you won't miss anything if you turn on the notification bell that's down there at the bottom as well. And while you're down there, hit that thumbs up button because I promise you this video is going to be wonderful. Well, it'll be good anyway. If is an interesting film written by John Krasinski and starring obviously Krasinski and Ryan Reynolds and several other people you will recognize. The voice acting is very good and the storyline is, well, pretty good as well. And while this particular concept has been done a few other times very, very well, the idea behind If is pretty good. You're going to have a story that will capture a child's imagination, which is kind of the whole point, and allow for them to maybe not want to grow up quite as quickly. And it also has a lot of pretty solid lessons in it and doesn't suffer from a whole lot of the modern issues that we seem to find in almost every single film production. While not a 10 out of 10 film, this film definitely delivers in the areas that it was aiming for, and it has a wonderful score and a decent soundtrack, which again is pretty rare these days. The film is shot well, the CGI is done properly, and you actually believe that some of these characters exist in real life. Some of that, obviously, is going to come from Ryan Reynolds' ability to perform against a green screen, because he's had a lot of practice, and against objects that are certainly not characters, and that's actually required. The young actress in this film is absolutely brilliant. She is able to carry the load for the entire film and bring a lot of emotion. If you're looking for an actress in the future, she's one of those folks you definitely want to pay attention to. In addition to young Kaylee Fleming, you have so many other actors here that you know and love. I think you'll be challenged to identify their voices, but there is one actress here who I find detestable almost every other time, who actually seems to deliver a character. Who's that, you ask? Well, Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Perhaps her forte is, well, not appearing on screen, certainly not writing, and maybe just being a voice and motion capture actor. Because honestly, that's the only 2 times that she's delivered anything that I would call a quality performance. Of course, it wouldn't be a Ryan Reynolds film without his, well, classic performances, and he really delivers a stunning one here. And if you don't understand the premise of the movie, let me break it down for you. If is an imaginary friend, and I'm not going to have any spoilers, so don't go running away. But the imaginary friends, well, they lose their kids, and they need their kids. And they need to replace those kids with other kids, or at least that's what we think. And obviously, young Kaylee Fleming out there is trying to help reunite the imaginary friends with their kids. Well, or new kids, hard to say. What's interesting about it all is this: the imaginary friends are something that actually drives a lot of emotion. In addition to the human performances, I think you're going to grow attached to some of these characters. Now, as a film that is targeted primarily at young people, there are adults that are going to lose interest in this film quickly. So if you are an adult with no kids going to this movie, just be prepared to be, well, at times a little bored. You might feel a little stilted, and you'll probably at some point be like, I don't know why I came to this. Except at the end, where the film really brings it home. There is a lot of genuine emotion here, and Krasinski, for better or worse, is a very good writer, so he will keep you engaged. What I really enjoyed was at the very end, when Kaylee had a realization about what was actually happening in the background. And of course, this film is based, as most child-targeted films are, around some kind of a tragedy. And it seems like those tragedies create situations where kids may lose contact with their imaginary friends because life changes, and it's not just the process of growing up, as you'll find out throughout this film. What I really appreciated about this is that it talks about how to tell a story. In fact, that's one of the driving factors throughout this film, is the idea of being able to tell a story, to convey meaning or entertainment to another party. And I think that John really knocked a home run when it came to that. As far as some of the other elements and some of the, I think I've seen this before, things that you're going to feel in this film, I think you can largely ignore those and just go out and enjoy. And I don't often say that. As I said, the acting is stellar. In particular, the voice acting of the entire cast, which even includes Awkwafina, who I really don't think has any talent at all, but it's just my opinion. Steve Carell really brings it as the character Blue, and I think it's going to be something that, well, could sell an awful lot of toys. In fact, there's a decent chance that if they launch a toy line with this film, if it's popular enough, it could actually do quite well in comparison to the new Inside Out film, which I think is going to land a little flat and maybe underperform. Overall, the film was inoffensive, and if you go into the theater expecting to be told a story, at least you won't be disappointed. But for now, and because I want to keep this short, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the ratings. If you're judging on a 1 to 10 scale, this film is going to fall around a 7.5 to an 8. In fact, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say that this is a 7.5 and not quite an 8 for the same reasons that I downgraded a lot of the films I've seen lately. It just doesn't all hold together, and it's a little longer than it should be, and I did watch some families have to exit the theater a couple of times to go to the restroom, which is not something that you want to do with a kids' movie. If you are interested in this movie, just be prepared. It does run on the longer side for something targeted towards young people. On the star rating scale between 1 and 5, I'm going to give it a 3.5, which keeps us right in line with the 7 to 7.5 number. It's a little bit of a downgrade, but it is for a reason. And I think it's because if you're an adult, and while this does play on multiple levels, it just kind of misses. So if you're not there with a family, you may not be able to see the film through a child's eyes, or maybe, depending upon your age, you still might be able to. At the end of the day, the film does bring a certain charm to it, and I think that people with children certainly should go see it. Now, there is an age limit that I'll put on it. I would not take any child under the age of 8 to this film. In fact, I might even bump that to 10, depending upon how sensitive your kids are, because it does deal with some harshness, and it does convey a lot of emotion, and there will be the occasional sad moment that maybe some kids aren't quite ready to deal with. Again, know your kids. Overall, I would say the thing that impressed me the most was the soundtrack, because that's been lacking in so many films lately. It also reinforces the idea that modern music cannot be used in modern film because it's not good. So you will hear a lot of old songs from old soundtracks that will seem more than a little bit familiar to you. Oh, also, shout out to a wonderful scene in an amusement park, or 2 or 3, that I think everybody will enjoy. Once again, Ryan Reynolds at his absolute best at conveying just the physical humor and, well, his great acting. It was a wonderful vehicle for him. Anyway, I'm interested in what you think of the movie if you've seen it, or if you're actually going to consider going. And if so, like I said, be prepared, if you're only there as an adult, to rate this film at about average or a little above. Don't go in there expecting too much. That's all I'm going to say. If you're an adult, you want to see this, maybe this would be a wait and see in streaming. If you're a family and you want to take your kids to something that definitely isn't going to impart a bunch of nonsense on them, well, this film might work for that as well. Like I said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya.
I've seen it all, so you don't have to. Culture Casino's got the movie review from silver screen.